Remember, the goal is not to be a starving artist, but a successful artist. You can do both. Let me show you how. Hi, this is Cheryl Johnson, and I want to talk to you about how not to be a starving artist, but a successful artist. And I'm going to give you lots of great tips that you will really like. Remember, Cheryl Johnson, Art Lessons Now. See my sites. Are you an artist or an entrepreneur? Can you be both a business person and an artist at the same time? I have a thriving art practice where I really love to create and paint, and I also have my Art Lessons Now site where I love to teach. I believe you can be a successful artist. And I'm going to be sharing mind-blowing, head-turning ideas to create and market your art. And I've even included a bonus snippet from my Frida Kahol lesson on tips for artists who cannot draw, and I share with you how to create and use a grid. So you do not want to miss that, but there's so much more I want to share with you. Let me explain why I understand how difficult it is to paint and to market your paintings. As artists, I believe we create because we have a passion, and we have to pursue that passion. When I go about starting to paint, I don't think, how much can I sell this painting for? I paint it because I have to paint, and I want to paint from my heart. That's the difference. Artists can be business persons as well as fine artists. You can create and sell. It's okay. You're not breaking any rules. When I go about starting to paint, I don't think, how much can I sell this painting for? I paint it because I have to paint, and I want to paint from my heart. That's the difference. Let me share how. From a business perspective, I have to not get so personally attached to this painting, but I did. In fact, this is one of my early paintings that I had created when I was doing portraits and figures, and I chose to keep this painting. So you can keep your own work, and you can sell them. If you're really attached to a painting, sell it as a limited edition print. Keep the business person focus in mind, because it's important that you're successful. You don't have to be a starving artist. You have to remember, the overall objective of being an artist and an entrepreneur and a business person is to make an income. As you can tell by the hair, I've been painting for 30, 40, I don't know, a long, long time. And I've been painting in many styles, many techniques, from realism to abstract. I've done sculptures, watercolors. I just have a ball and explore, and you can too. The transition you must go through in considering yourself as an artist and an entrepreneur takes some work. There is some focus that you need to do in order to focus on being both. You can be both. Let me tell you a secret. I actually am an artist and a teacher. And of course, I have my Art Lessons Now classes. And let me give you a glimpse of just one of my brief shots of a class I'm going to be doing on painting Frida Kahol and several portrait views. Let me show you an inside glimpse into that class. I promised you a snippet from Frida Kahol lesson, and here it is. So make sure you take some notes and realize you can paint from a grid. And I will share in the complete lesson that'll be on my Art Lessons Now site for you to see that class. When I first started this painting, I actually used a woody pencil and sketched and drew and laid in the elements of this part of the photograph of Frida Kahol. And then after I stepped back and looked at it for a while, I thought how fun it would be to put a larger face. But many of my students have said, what do you do if you can't draw? What if you can't just freehand move? I tend to look for darks and lights and look for the contrast. What I did here was to set up a grid and just drew the grid lines right and left. Then I did the grid lines on my drawing. Now I can actually focus down to just one little square and draw what I see. Keep watching. I'll be offering the Frida Kahol class soon. But that was just a bonus for you. So let me get back to marketing and selling and painting and being both an artist and an entrepreneur. That you walk into the studio and start creating that beautiful painting that you've been planning for several months. You have to think about the fact that one day the goal is to sell it. Remember, the goal is not to be a starving artist, but a successful artist. You can do both. Let me show you how. Now, first you have to take hundreds of selfies. I mean, they show all the wrinkles. You have to remember to comb your hair. You have to remember to make sure you don't have a light reflection. You have to remember to put lipstick on. Boy, the list is incredible. As an artist and a photographer, I'm so vain could be my song. But then, just keep on going. Have fun. It's not that serious. Okay, let's get down to business. And in this lesson, I'm going to give you some really great, mind-blowing, exciting ideas that are head-turning ideas to create and market your art. That's extra, so make sure you stick around for that. So let's move forward. I'm just going to share a few things before I talk about marketing and selling your art, which is so important. I think you will agree, as artists, we all have issues and trouble marketing and selling our art. Do you have issues? I know I would rather spend my time getting my paints ready to paint and playing with colors and mixing colors and just really enjoying what I've spent years studying. But I'm going to share some important tips with you. So let's move forward. Quick tip number one is that values are more important than color. You know, the darks and lights of a color, the value, how intense it is. That's really important. If you have not been to my website, artlessonsnow.com, I hope you go there and check out my different courses. Also, make sure you look for the ebooks, Values, The Creative Advantage, and Color, a coloring guide book. Not how to color like coloring crayons. So if you really want to learn how to paint, please go to artlessonsnow.com and select a lesson that's just right for you. And there's lots of free stuff there you'll want to see as well. I hope you stay with me in the coming weeks and follow me on Instagram and Facebook, and make sure you check out my website and look at all the different ways that you can learn. I've created an Art Lessons Now site specifically to sell lessons that cover an individual painting. If you go to the site and see a lesson and you like the look of that piece of art and want to know how I painted it, then this will be an exciting place for you to learn, and it's very reasonable. So now let's share some what I hope are mind-blowing, head-turning ideas to create and market your art. Let me explain why it is so hard for an artist to be both a business person as well as an artist. How do we really create from our core self when the entrepreneur inside is focusing on making money and selling their art? It's very difficult to be externally focused on factors that influence our business decisions. You know, I really work on marketing and developing a business approach, but that is very difficult. And I want to share with you some personal thoughts. I'd much rather be painting and experimenting and creating and doing all the fun things than thinking about marketing and selling and, oh, the marketing is the hard part. Well, maybe it isn't for some of you, but I know it is for me. I'm an artist, I'm a painter, and I love creating. And I think you do too.
Okay.
As an artist, I'm sure you're more interested in the painting process and how I do create my art. This happens to be an oil painting, and if you have not seen the video Painting in Hawaii, make sure you go see that. It'll explore this complete painting. But creating art is really the most exciting part. And I want to share with you a little bit about my history and how I got to be an artist and why I'm painting now. An inside story. I worked for IBM for years and managed many websites, and I had people to help build my sites. I had wonderful graphic designers and illustrators and videographers and producers and directors. But when I quit IBM, I had to do it for myself. So then, photographing my art, placing the art on a website, selling my art, and figuring out how much to charge for my art was really hard. So, from a business perspective, what do you do? Let me explain why it is so hard for an artist to be both a business person as well as an artist. How do we really create from our core self when the entrepreneur inside is focusing on making money and selling their art? It's very difficult to be externally focused on factors that influence our business decisions. You know, I really work on marketing and developing a business approach, but that is very difficult. And I want to share with you some personal thoughts. From a business perspective, there is no way to have a personal attachment between your individual product, which is your artwork or your painting or your sculpture or your photography. And in our case, when the overall objective of our business is making an income, the main difference is that it's not personal. It can't be personal. You have to be very analytical in your business approach. How do you sell? How do you keep on selling? What will sell? There's so many questions to ask. I'm going to take a moment and talk about that. I spent a long time being influenced by other people, and you've got to be careful because we look to others for affirmation, and if we don't get affirmation, we kind of stop creating or stop doing. So it's very important to give positive affirmation to yourself. You know, I was blessed to have a mother that said, go to the mirror each morning and say, I'm a woman, I'm beautiful, and I'm loved. And also, I've started going to the mirror and saying, I'm a beautiful woman, I'm an exceptional artist, I'm great in business, I sell art, I make affirmations that I internalize into my spirit and soul. And that is so important. Do you hear that buzz in the background? Everything in life is a shiny object. We can be distracted by sounds, by light, by visual things, or even our cat at the door wanting attention. So imagine how a viewer or a collector out there on your website or your YouTube or your Instagram or your Facebook or your Thread or Pinterest or wherever they are, imagine how easy it is for them to be distracted. You got to keep their attention. And how do you do that? So let's talk about that. Keeping your attention focused on what you need to accomplish in an artist perspective and keeping your attention focused on your business. That's so important. We've got so much to cover. Let's keep going. Okay, I'm going to give you 5 steps for building a marketing plan for your artist business. You have to showcase your art and connect with interested collectors by learning how to market yourself as an artist. Let's talk about how we do that. It really takes hard work to turn your passion into a business. Along with the time that it takes to create your artwork, you must get your pieces in front of collectors and buyers. For artists, marketing means identifying your audience and creating an online presence.
Okay, we're going to start with a simple plan and then make sure we add networking and promotion. And right now, don't worry about buying ads or paying for ads. Most art marketing ideas are inexpensive or free, so don't get carried away. But there are good paid tools, like an e-commerce website. Shoot, you got to have one. There are so many. I have tried them all. Wix, ArtLogic, Squarespace. Oh my God, they're all great ones. I just happen to love Google, and I'm going to work with Google as long as I can, and hopefully one day they'll get a built-in e-commerce. In the meantime, I use Shopify. Now, is that a cool trick or what? Did I mention Google websites are free? Is that a great tip? I'm only paying $5 a month for Shopify Lite, and I post my artwork on the Shopify site, and then I link directly from my website. Now, here's an important thing. Number one, develop your artist statement. An artist statement is like an elevator pitch. My philosophy is a very simple one, and perhaps I go on too wildly about it, but I feel very strongly about it. I believe in creativity, imagination, and self-expression. I am a painter. I believe art can have something important to say about the human condition. At its best and in any era, great painting is exciting. It can take us somewhere we remember or haven't been before, provoking us into new areas of thought and feeling. I hope you go to my website and see my artist statement. It's a little long, but I have a lot of emotions and I feel very strongly about it. You know, I've really looked at trends and I've studied some wonderful sites like Artsy and Artspur and Saatchi and Singular Art. There's so many wonderful sources out there and really great galleries. Look for the top galleries out there and try to get into a local gallery if you can. That's the best place to start. Put together a digital collection, a PDF of your art, and contact the gallery and send it to them and ask to set up an appointment to show your art in person. It's worth a try. Now, what are the trends in art? Well, in 21, it was kind of digital art and the big NFT boom. Then in 2022, the digital art trend kind of subsided, and then people kind of got into more real painted works, a lot with texture and oil. And I think that's going to continue on through 23 and on into 24. Then you can kind of look at all the great places out there where art is selling, like Art Basel in Miami Beach. Look at their sites and see what's sold. Think about what you want to paint that's really you. Remember, it's all about your art, not the trends. Paint what you love to paint, whether it be landscapes or people or even comic books or Marvel characters. There's so many people out there. 140 billion people are on Instagram, they say, and everybody's buying art. So, I don't know. There's so many things you can do. Artificial intelligence is booming. It's really interesting. Where should you focus your attentions on marketing? Remember, be authentic, and that's the key word, authenticity. Be professional. Create a series of works and put them up on your website. And have fun painting. Well, I hope you've enjoyed these few comments about marketing your art and things that you can do. I've been painting for 30 years, and it's still hard for me. But, it's worth it. It's so great when a collector contacts you and says, hey, I'd like to buy another one of your works and one of your paintings. And boy, it just makes your heart sing. So paint, enjoy painting. Make sure you wear your artistic hat and your authentic art hat and your marketing hat. This is Cheryl Johnson. Have a great day and pursue your passions and have more joy every day.